So my name is Ravi. I have been teaching actuarial students since 2013. It's been 13 years now. So this seminar is for understanding how the career in actuarial science looks like. If you have any questions while you're present in between, feel free to raise your hand or put a question in the chat box. And at the end, we can even have a two-way conversation to answer the questions. Let us begin. So the first question that we need to understand is what is actuarial science or what an actuary does. So in a very simple term, we say that an actuary puts a price tag on a risk. The primary job of an actuary is to understand risk and quantify it. Quantification means we tell the company that if so and risk occurs, this is the cost that the company may have to bear. If your car meets an accident, how much money you may have to pay to get your car repaired. If you get hospitalized, how much money would require to pay your hospital bill. So getting hospitalized or getting your car meeting an accident or a bike meeting an accident or a ship just carrying some goods from country A to country B may become there may be an attack on it, or it may be in trouble because of cyclone or anything, any natural disaster, the rest to it. So in very simple terms, actually will tell the company that whatever risk is there on the company, if that risk occurs, what is the cost that the company may have to pay? And once you know the cost that you may have to pay, a company can be better prepared for handling that risk. So the primary application of the uh, actual work is into insurance and pension industry, because the insurance and pension industry is of risk. When you take insurance, basically the insurance companies take over the risk of various businesses and individuals on there. When you take a risk on yourself, you need to understand how much risk you've taken and you have to be prepared for it, and you have to charge claims accordingly. But the application of actuarial science goes much beyond insurance. That was primarily the course or the whole curriculum was designed to meet the requirement of the insurance industry. But over time, it has become much broader in terms of the application that we do. So when a bank gives a loan to somebody, there is a risk that the person will not be able to repay it back to the bank. So there is something called as credit risk. Or the company who has taken the loan is not able to repay because it's not able to do sale, or because of any regulatory reasons the company is not able to sell its product anymore, or because of change in regulation, the government says that this company needs to shut, they cannot sell this particular products in their country. Or maybe you've sold some laptops or mobile phones and you've committed the customers a 1 year warranty, and within that 1 year, too many mobile phones or laptops, much more than expectation, may come out for repair, and there is a cost that is involved for the company. So in all these cases, an actuary has to get in. It has to help the company understand is the risk that the company is going to face because of the promises it has done, and be prepared for those financially. So our primary job is to understand financial risk, even though we understand all other kind of risk, but whatever needs quantification in terms of monetary loss, only there we actually would get really involved. So the initial application was in insurance and pension industry, but it has now expanded to banks, regular companies, which gives warranty. Now every company gives warranty. Every company promises certain employee benefits to their employees. So the company may say that there's a gratuity payment, there is a leave encashment payment when you retire, or there's a pension payment. These companies need to do the valuation of the liabilities of whatever commitments they've made to their employees, and actually is supposed to do it for them. So in very simple terms, we understand risk and we try to quantify those risks for the companies that we work for. So there are a lot of international students in the seminar, but I have more of Indian data because my primary students or the intent was to address the Indian students, but nevertheless, the international students who are part of this can also understand the things. But the data that you might see in the presentation may be more relevant to the Indian context. You may have to research for your own country by your own. So talking about India, we just have 569 fellow actuaries right now. Fellow actuary means somebody who has cleared all the exams. And there are just five, six such numbers, and this is the last update of March 2023. There may have been slightly more additions and This is the Indian Institute data. There may be some students who have cleared from the UK Institute, IFOA. So the number is still well below 1,000. The number of actuaries that we need right now in India is 25,000, and the number of actuaries that we have in India is less than 1,000. So that is 25x more demand than than what the supply is today. So there is huge scope for anyone to build their career in this field. There are about 8 student members who are registered with the Indian Institute, and approximately similar or more number registered with the IFOA, maybe about 10,000. So there are about 15 to 18,000 students actively writing the exams. But the dropout rate is very high. Many students won't end up getting right kind of guidance in this course, and this course requires a lot of commitment, a lot of resilience, a lot of hard work, and a lot of guidance, at least to start with in the initial papers. Due to lack of those, and due to lack of motivation, the companies, the students are not able to catch up with the papers that they're giving, and there is a high drop that we see. So if maybe 50,000 students who are actively writing the exam right now, about 10 to 15% of them might actually end up clearing all the exams, or maybe 20% end up clearing all the exams, all 13 exams that somebody needs to clear to become an actuary. So as per the current registration of the students, we don't see the number going beyond the 2,500 or beyond 3,000 in the near future. And the requirement is still for 25,000 actuaries in it. And there is similar lack of actuaries in the most countries across the world, except for US and UK. US and UK have got very well developed profession. They have their own body since many years, and they have good number of students. So there are about, I think, more than 25,000 actuaries in the countries US and UK. But the number of such actuaries in other countries across Europe or Asia or Africa, Australia is much lower than what the demand is. It has been among the top five highest paid professions globally. The data that I've seen is from the US because there the numbers are high, so it generally ranks in the surveys. But when similar studies are done in India, you may not see actually mentioned in the top five because they don't consider actually as a one of the contenders in the top paid profession because the numbers are very low. So it becomes difficult to sampling. But when we look at global trends, especially in the US and UK, it is among the top five paid professions always. So the other ones are uh, the surgeons and dentists and investment bankers and sometimes the chartered accountants who are among the top five contenders, and actually is prominently one of them since last many years. Last 2 3 decades, I've been looking at numbers, and the it has been consistently in the top five list of the US. And if I compare the salaries that actuaries get in India compared to any other graduates or professionals, compared to CA or CS, anyone who's doing a job, it is actually among the top five. So there's no official data for the Indian salary, but it is definitely among the top five as per my experience. And there are 100 plus countries which recognize dual qualifications, especially if you've done it from IFOA. So it is very easy for anyone to move abroad. If you do an IFO exam and if you want to go out of your own country and if you want to go and work somewhere else, the IFO is recognized in most of the countries, 100 plus countries across the globe. So it becomes very easy for you to migrate and look for better opportunities globally if the opportunities in your own country are less. There's a question in the chat box which says are actuaries in the healthcare and investment industry? Yes, they are very much in the healthcare and insurance industry. We'll discuss about that in more detail in some of the few slides to come. So to become an actuary, the main three pillars of the academic knowledge that you need to develop or that you need to have is the mathematics, statistics, and finance. So to we actually do quantification of risk in terms of monetary values. So understanding finance is very important. Since we're talking about risk, there is uncertainty. We do not know whether the event will occur or not. So we need to calculate probabilities of those events occurring, and hence the statistics gets involved. And when we do probabilities calculation, the number crunching may be required, the data crunching may be required, and hence the mathematics involved. So you need to have a basic idea of what mathematics and statistics are required, and you develop the remaining knowledge of finance, statistics, and mathematics as you go through the course, as you learn the course. So we have to study 30 papers to be able to pass those exams. So it takes a lot of efforts and it takes a lot of new knowledge that you have to inculcate as you study for prepare for these exams.